Welcome to the Trade Report Connection with Tommy. I do apologize for the long wait. I've been having internet connection problems and also other personal issues. So I'm back. I'm trying to catch up. Starting with the October episodes of Raw, SmackDown, main event, yada yada yada. And there we go. Okay, well, it was September 30th, 2013. A fan report said that he and his name was Thomas attended the Raw taping from Biloxi, Mississippi, and sent the following notes. The seats were more about 60% full, and probably 3/4 of the top of the bowl was tarped. And the crowd was a lot hotter than I assumed that it would be. By the Bryan segment, the crowd was mostly dead. 3.5 hours is too long for a mostly young crowd. Also, there were dead ringers for Hulkster, Ultimate Warrior, Roddy Piper, Sergeant Slaughter, and Scott Hall on the floor. To the point that they were told to stop wrestling each other in the crowd and in the aisles during the breaks. I also hope my "Don't Get a DUI" swagger sign and shout came through on TV, and that was his experience of the report. That's all he said. And now we're all kicked off with CM Punk coming to the ring. Michael Coleslaw welcomed us to the show. He's joined in by JBL and Jerry the King Lawler. The ring ropes were pink and white for the WWE's partnership with Susan G. Komen, Cure for Cancer. We see footage from CM Punk being beaten down by Ryback and Curtis Axel from the previous week. Punk hits the ring and the fans chant his name. Punk talks about getting his hands on Curtis Axel and making him go to sleep. About getting his hands on Ryback and showing him what really happens to bullies. Punk says this story ends when he finally gets his hands on Heyman. Punk encourages a Ryback sucks chant. Punk says that this story could end right here tonight, and the fans chant for him. As the Raw General Manager, Brad Maddox, comes out to the ring, Maddox says, Punk ending the story tonight isn't what's best for business. He has a shot at Ryback at Battleground. Punk wants an outlet for his aggression. Big E Langston comes out. He says, if Punk wants aggression, he's his man. Langston decks Punk with a microphone and beats him down. Big E with the big shoulder thrust in the corner. Punk dodges a thrust. As Maddox calls for the referee down, and we've got a match. We'll come back from commercial. Punk is already working Big E over on the floor and brings him back to the ring and hits a crossbody from up top for a 2 count. Punk tries to scoop Big E but can't pick him up as Langston levels Punk and covers him for a 2 count. Big E works Punk over some more and then focuses on the leg. Punk fights back with chops and kicks, but Big E runs over him again for another 2 count. Punk counters and a hold and rolls Big E up. Big E overpowers and slams Punk for a close pin attempt. Punk fights back from his feet, and Big E goes for a move, but gets kicked in the head and goes down. 2 count by Punk. More back and forth action as Big E with another huge clothesline and a 2 count. Big E misses a splash. More back and forth until Punk gets the win with a GTS. Still to come segment, the Rose family will be here for a family summit with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Fandango versus Kofi Kingston was up next, back from the break as Summer Rae is out with Fandango wearing his new pink t-shirt for breast cancer awareness. Kofi Kingston is out next, also wearing a new pink t-shirt. Back and forth, action starts the match. Kofi ends up getting the win with Trouble in Paradise. After the match, Kofi begins to celebrate, but the lights go out and Bray Wyatt lights the lantern and heads to the ring with Eric Rowan and Luke Harper. Kofi has grabbed a steel chair and waits as Wyatt stops and talks about wondering why horrible things happen to him. He says his nightmare has ended and finally he understands what he must do. One by one, they will all fall down. Follow the buzzards, as he says, to end their segment, and Bray laughs as the lights go out and they cut to commercial. Bella Twins backstage. talking about Battleground pay-per-view when Randy Orton walked up. Orton congratulated her on getting engaged to Daniel Bryan. He asked when the wedding was. He says he should have been scheduled sooner than later because there's a good chance Bryan won't make it down the aisle after the pay-per-view. Renee Young was backstage with Paul Heyman. She asked about CM Punk. Heyman says Punk is a nobody who became a Paul Heyman guy. Renee asked Ryback is around the corner and Axel is hiding behind equipment, wondering if Heyman has another trap set for Punk. Heyman dares Punk to make a move tonight. And we get another vignette with the Los Matadors making their debut soon. And we get the Los Matadors in their debut versus Heath Slater and Jinder Mahal. 3MB wait in the ring as the Los Matadors and their bull mascot El Torito come out for their debut. After a back-and-forth match that got a boring chant at one point, Matadors get the win after a double-team move. After the match, El Torito bounces on the ropes as the Matadors celebrate. Yeah, he does a spin move on the ropes, jumps across them. We get a look back at 2 weeks ago when Big Show knocked out Dusty Rhodes. Still to come, the Big Family Summit as we go back to commercial. Back from commercial, and Triple H and Stephanie are introduced. They come out to Triple H's theme song. Triple H invites the Rhodes family out and guarantees their safety. Dusty Rhodes, music hits, and out he comes with Goldust and Cody, all in suit. Stephanie congratulates Cody on getting married and asks if he got the Bed Bath & Beyond gift card. Triple H asks why they all have looks of hostility on their faces. Triple H says that they have given chances to the Rhodes family and they keep failing. Triple H asks Dusty if he's upset he couldn't make it out of Florida and the NWA and failed when he tried working on a national level with McMahon family. Stephanie says they want to give Cody his job back and want to give Goldust a job if they can beat Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns at Battleground. If they lose, they're done forever. And Dusty loses his developmental job. Dusty says he will be in their corner at Battleground, and Stephanie says Dusty is itching for a fight. She warns her to be careful what he wishes for he just might get. Stephanie and Triple H exit the ring and the Rhodes family looks on as they are leaving. The Shield attacks from behind. Roman Reigns spears Goldust, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose beat down Cody, and then they go for Dusty before triple teaming Cody and hitting the big power bomb. As Rollins stomps on Dusty some more as they taunt him and a "You Suck" chant breaks out in the crowd. The Shield stands over Dusty and poses as they go to replays. So the come segment again, Orton and Bryan will go face to face. Back to commercial they go. Then we get R-Truth versus Curtis Axel. Back from the break, and out comes R-Truth in his new pink t-shirt. WWE Intercontinental Champion Curtis Axel is out next with Paul Heyman for a non-title match. They start off and Axel tosses Truth to the mat and talks some trash. Truth dances around and the crowd pops. Axel gets in his face and mushes him back. Truth with a big smack to the face that sends Axel down. Truth makes a comeback and Axel goes to the ropes, sloshing back and forth in the match. Fans start chanting for CM Punk. Axel turns it around and Punk's music hit, interrupting things as Heyman gets scared at ringside. Truth takes advantage of it and pins Axel for the win. After the match, Heyman realizes Punk is playing games with him. Truth celebrates and taunts Heyman as we go to replays. Bella Twins backstage, walking as we go to commercial, back from the break. And the announcers congratulate Trish Stratus on her new baby boy, Maximus. We get a video looking at Brie Bella and Daniel Bryan's relationship. Alicia Fox versus Brie Bella was up next. Alicia waits in the ring as the Bella Twins make their way to the ring. Back and forth to start the match as we see AJ Lee watching backstage with Tamina. As Brie ends up getting the win after hitting her finisher. Another still to come segment, Dolph Ziggler and the Usos versus the Shield in a six-man tag as they go back to commercial. Curtis Axel and Paul Heyman backstage Axel is clutching his title and pacing around. Heyman tells him to relax and says Axel is looking at this the wrong way. He says Punk is out of his league, messing with him. Ryback appears and says after last week, if Punk wants them, then he can have them. Heyman tells Ryback to go get some food and he will see him in a few minutes. Heyman calls Ryback beautiful as he walks off. Heyman talks to Axel about how he has a new outlook on things since Ryback saved his life. Heyman says he's going to the ring to propose to Ryback. And everybody's thinking it's going to be a marriage proposal. Well, not to be done. Then we get a look at Stephanie McMahon making Big Show take out The Miz from the previous week. Renee Young backstage with Big Show. He says he's holding up as well as he can right now. She says it looked like he was about to explode on SmackDown, and we see footage of a segment with Triple H. Show says his financial situation is being held over his head. Show goes on and says he's a good person trying to do the right by his family. Show says he's done everything he's been told to do, including knocking out a man he idolized growing up. Show says he can't take it anymore. He's going to find Triple H and show him exactly how he feels. This Show says he's going to knock Triple H the hell out as he walks off, and we go to commercial. Back from the break, and R-Truth is asking Brad Maddox for the Intercontinental title shot. Big Show walks in and wants Triple H. He jacks Maddox up against the wall. Choke slam position. And then that was into that segment. Zack Ryder versus Alberto Del Rio was up next. We go to the ring, and already Zack is waiting as the World Heavyweight Champion. Alberto Del Rio makes his way out for a non-title match. And they lock up and they go to the corner. Del Rio knocks Ryder down first. They run the ropes, and Ryder tosses Del Rio and takes him to the corner. Ryder gets a brief load of offense and a clothesline, sending Del Rio to the floor. Ryder leaps out, but Del Rio moves and he hits the floor. Del Rio tosses Ryder back into the barrier and stomps away. Del Rio brings it back in the ring and keeps Ryder on the mat. Ryder tries for the comeback and gets a 2 count. Del Rio catches one to tilt the world backbreaker and stomps on the arm. Ryder comes back and hits a missile drop kick. Ryder with a forearm into the corner and a broski boot for the 2 count. Del Rio blocks the Rough Rider with a German suplex and a kick to the face. Del Rio with a stomp before applying the cross arm breaker for the win. After the match, Del Rio poses and kicks Ryder again. Up next, we got Paul Heyman with the proposal to Ryback. Maybe. Now we go to commercial. We'll give a round of applause to a group of breast cancer survivors and their families sitting at ringside. And we go to the ring, and out comes Ryback with Paul Heyman. Heyman talks about CM Punk and shows us footage from last week where they beat CM Punk down in Chicago. Heyman goes on and starts putting over Ryback, calling him a big, beautiful man. Ryback says he hates a bully, and to see CM Punk take all the knowledge and friendship he got from Heyman, to see him take all of that and throw it back in Heyman's face, he couldn't let that stand. Ryback has his hand on Heyman's cheek now. He calls Heyman a genius. He says there's nothing, and he means nothing, that he wouldn't do for Heyman. Heyman says 2013 is such a progressive year with so many movements. It's time that people come out in the open and are honest with the way that they feel about each other. Heyman says he doesn't want them to be stigmatized. He feels free, liberated, and more like a man now. Heyman says that this is because of Ryback, and he wants to feel that way every day for the rest of his life. Heyman says this needs to become an official commitment. Call it a relationship. A marriage, a partnership, or whatever. Heyman says he even ran this by his children. Heyman wants to make this commitment in sickness and in health until death do us part. Heyman says he wants to make an honest man out of Ryback. Heyman grabs Ryback's hand and drops to his one knee. Heyman teases it and looks to be proposing marriage, but he stops and asks Ryback if he will be a Paul Heyman guy. CM Punk's music then plays, and out he comes to a big pop. But Punk doesn't come down the ramp. He tries to surprise them and runs through the crowd as the fans really come alive. And Punk slips on a barrier and falls hard on his knee. This looks real and not part of the angle, but nobody comes to check on him. Ryback and Heyman look on, but look like they don't know what's going on. Punk tries to walk it off and tries to get on the apron, but falls back to the floor and clutches his knee. The trainer finally comes down. Heyman walks over concerned, and Punk gets up, swinging a kendo stick from under the ring. Punk unloads with the kendo stick and also takes out Curtis Axel, who runs down. Ryback and Heyman retreat to the stage as Punk unloads on Axel. Punk then lays out Axel and tosses Ryback from the ring as his music plays. And we see Big Show backstage waiting in Triple H's office as we go back to commercial. Ziggler and the Usos versus the Shield was up next. Back from the break, and the Shield waits in the ring as Ziggler comes out. Then the Usos were next. Dean Ambrose starts off with Ziggler, and they go to the corner, back and forth to start. Ziggler tackles Ambrose and unloads with right hand. Seth Rollins tags in, but Ziggler takes him down. Jimmy Uso tags in and unloads on Rollins for a 2 count. Jey Uso comes back in with a splash for a 2 count. Ambrose comes in and turns it around, taking back control for the Shield. Then Rollins tags in and keeps up the attack on the Usos. Another tag to Ambrose. Ziggler and Reigns come in and a brawl breaks out. The Shield get dumped to the floor and the Usos leap on to them as we go to commercial. Back from the break, and Rollins is in control of Jimmy Uso. Ambrose comes in and prevents a tag. Reigns comes in but gets sent out to the floor again. Reigns comes back in and shoves Uso to the corner, and Uso comes back with a big super kick. Rollins comes in and stops the tag. Ambrose and Ziggler tag in at the same time and go at it with Ziggler in control. Ziggler nails a bunch of elbow drops, more back and forth action as Ziggler hits the famouser. Everyone gets involved again, and Ziggler nails a zigzag on Rollins, but Reigns spears Ziggler for the win. Back for the break, and Rollins is in control of Jimmy Uso. Ambrose comes in and prevents a tag. Reigns comes in but gets sent out to the floor again. Reigns comes back in and shows. Well, I think I did that. Okay. Yeah, the winner of the match was the Shield. We see Big Show getting ready to fight while waiting on Triple H in the office. They have to go back to commercial. Back for the break, and we get Big Show in Triple H's office. Police officers walk in with a detective. Show has to come with them. Stephanie McMahon walks in and says, Show has just been under a lot of pressure. She says that they have everything under control and vouches for him. Stephanie says that she talked to Show's wife earlier today, and she said he doesn't measure up to her expectation at home either. Everyone leaves, and Show sits down to cry. Show gets up and sees Triple H's DVD cover poster on the wall. He punches it, putting a hole in the wall, and then walks off. Renee Young backstage with RVD, also wearing a new pink t-shirt. She asks him about the Battleground match. RVD says he excels when it's hardcore rules and shows us footage of some of his matches over the years. RVD says Del Rio shows no mercy in the ring, but he has no clue what hardcore rules mean. Hornswoggle, Santino Marella, and Great Khali are walking backstage as we go to commercial. Antonio Cesaro versus Santino Marella was up next. We're back for the break as Zeb is cutting a heel promo in the ring. Typical back and forth tag match. Cesaro hits a massive giant swing on Santino. That's been the highlights of his matches lately, and Santino ends up getting the win with a quick pin on Cesaro. After the match, everyone is shocked as Santino celebrates with Hornswoggle and Khali. Up next was Bryan and Orton face to face as they go back to commercial. Back for the break. Get Jerry King Lawler in the ring, and he talks about Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella getting engaged. Lawler brings out Bryan first, followed by Randy Orton. Lawler says this is meant to be a verbal confrontation only. Lawler talks about how Bryan being stripped of the title. Orton was upset at first that he wasn't given the title back, but says it's motivated him to return to being the Viper. Orton says he will beat Bryan on Sunday because he's genetically superior to a small, pathetic, weak, B-plus goat-faced troll like Bryan. Bryan says Orton talks a good game but mocks him. Bryan says Orton needed Triple H's motivation to reach his full potential. Bryan says he has never needed motivation from anyone. Bryan says he will beat Orton for the WWE title on Sunday. Fans chant the Borgasm, yes. And Orton tells them to shut up. Orton brings up the engagement. He asks, what's so wrong with Brie that she settles for Bryan? Orton says that Bella will face up one day and wake up one day and realize she's with a barnyard animal and not someone like him. Bryan attacks Orton and takes the fight to the ring, out to ringside. Bryan unloads on Orton and turns it around and beats up. Orton turns it around and beats up on Bryan. Orton goes for the draping DDT from the apron to the floor, but Brie runs down. Orton looks at her and drops Bryan face first to the floor. Brie rushes over to check on Bryan. Orton walks away, but comes back and scares her into the barrier. Orton starts taking apart the announcer's table. Brie yells at Orton to stop. Orton drops Bryan through the announcer's table with an RKO as Brie looks on. Referees check on Bryan as Orton walks away. Brie rushes back to Bryan now as Raw goes off the air with Orton looking on. Superstars, that was taped for October 4th. From Mississippi Coast Coliseum in Biloxi, Mississippi. Same place with Rob Van Dam defeated Kurt Hawkins in a 5-star Hog Splash. And your second match with Damien Sandow defeating Justin Gabriel. Your main event. Santino Marella made his way to the ring sporting a pink WWE shirt. Alex Riley joins Josh Matthews once again for commentary this week. Looks like it's going to be his permanent job. Okay. Damien Sandow enters with a mic. He says something that is intellectual and above my vocabulary before saying, all hail Santino, the king of the stupid, and he is the uncrowned world champion. Sandow immediately goes to the ropes, and Santino sets up the Cobra without the sock. Headlock takeover on Marella. Shoulder block from Sandow, and they yell at each other, and then they try to take another over. But Damien just shoves Santino aside, and Santino flips Sandow over for a couple of times. Santino power walks until Sandow knees him. Marella tries for the Sandow's elbow of disdain, but Damien gets up and delivers multiple knees to the gut. Then they go to commercial. Sandow strikes Santino in a few times on the mat, covers and gets a kick out. Headlock in place as Santino got out of it, but Sandow takes him back down for a pin. Sandow got Santino back in the ring for a headlock. Sandow shoves Santino head into the turnbuckle a few times before hitting the elbow. Disdain, Santino sends a few punches and flips Sandow over twice. Cobra is then brought out. Sandow rolls out of the ring. Sandow steals the Cobra. Damien hits the finisher for the win in a 9-minute and 55-second match. WWE.com exclusive. Triple H says that he's tired of the Big Show crying about his personal problems week after week. Friday on SmackDown, Hunter and Show will be under the same roof. Triple H isn't worried. He's giving Big Show a main event handicap match against the Shield. If it's best for business, it's best for show. Darren Young and Titus O'Neil enter, and Harper and Rowan of the Wyatt family make their way into the darkness. So we get Prime Tires versus Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. Harper and Young start off. They lock up. Harper strikes with an elbow. Tag to Rowan. O'Neil is then tagged in. Big boot in the corner to Titus as Young covers for a 1 count. Huge side kick by Rowan that flattens Darren. Eric picks up Young and places him in the corner. Harper unloads with punches, then covers him. Rowan hits a knee drop, followed by an elbow drop. Harper clubs Young in the gut. Young is dragged back into the ring, where Young hits a kick to the temple to get free as O'Neil comes in off the tag to boot Harper. Cover for a 2 count as Rowan throws Young out, and O'Neil takes care of Rowan. Tyson turns around into Harper's clothesline. Pinfall. The match took 4 minutes 21 seconds. Bray Wyatt then gets in the ring and to hit Titus with his sister Abigail. Curtis Axel will defend the Intercontinental Championship against R-Truth at Battleground was announced. The IC champion Curtis Axel makes his way to the ring as Zack Ryder enters for their match. Ryder hits the clothesline, 2 count. Roll up by Zack, kick out. Clothesline from behind by Axel, slaps to the chest in the corner, knee drop, 2 count. Elbow drop from the turnbuckle, 2 count. Ryder takes Curtis down with a head slam. Clothesline and a missile drop kick for Ryder keeps Axel down for a 2 count. Another drop kick, Broski boot connects. Axel kicks Ryder's head into the turnbuckle. Axel hits the inverted neck breaker. DDT finisher for the 3 count. And that match took 3 minutes 48 seconds. I don't realize. Then we get Raw rebound. Triple H and Stephanie invited the Rhodes family to the ring. Rhodes lost to Orton. Goldust lost to Orton. And Dusty got KO'd by Big Show. This opportunity for number 4, they will get their jobs back if they can beat Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns at Battleground pay-per-view. If they lose, their jobs and WWE history will be no more. And the Rhodes family is leaving as the Shield attack. Battleground kicked off. Did not. That'll be a separate. That'll be a separate one. Okay. SmackDown from Baton Rouge Civic Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Here are the results. Wow, they didn't come to Shreveport this month. Normally that's right around there, Baton Rouge and then Shreveport. The show opened with Big Show cutting a promo saying he is getting fed up and is going to lose it soon. He says he has almost lost it Monday and TNA was inexcusable for everything is Triple H's fault. Triple H interrupts him and says that he is the one that's at fault for not being able to pay his mortgage and bills. But since he admittedly is a huge monster with a short fuse, he's changing the main event. The match is now Randy Orton and The Shield versus Big Show. Fandango and Summer Rae come out to the crowd in the next segment doing their fandangoing. Ricardo Rodriguez makes his way to the ring to introduce RVD, who comes out to the second loudest ovation of the night, filled with RVD and ECW chant. Summer Rae gets Fandango disqualified by tripping him on the top rope. After the match, sees RVD hit the Van Terminator on Fandango with a trash can. He stays after the match to play to the crowd as that ended that segment. As Ryback with Heyman and Axel defeated R-Truth. After the match, Axel attacked R-Truth. RVD sent the compacted trash can to Alberto Del Rio as a gift. Alberto Del Rio defeated Dolph Ziggler by submission in the next match. And then the Los Matadors make their SmackDown debut by defeating 3MB with Drew McIntyre. After the match, the Bull Masquerita does a top rope splash to 3MB outside the ring. Then it's announced that Curtis Axel will defend his Intercontinental Championship against R-Truth at Battleground. Heyman cuts a promo. He mentions that Ryback will destroy CM Punk on Sunday. Brie Bella with Nikki Bella defeated Oksana. After the match, celebration is interrupted by AJ with Tamina. AJ says what Orton will do to Randy is exactly what she will do to Brie on Sunday. She goes on to say that both can go into early retirement and have ugly goat-faced babies together. Next up, we had Kofi Kingston defeating Big E Langston with a roll-up. And Bray Wyatt cuts a promo. And then we get the main event, Big Show defeating Randy Orton and the Shield by disqualification after Orton used a steel chair when Show took control of the match and fights off all 4 opponents. The Usos and Daniel Bryan out to help Big Show make the saves to even out the odds. As SmackDown ends with a bunch of the Borgasm chants with a yes. And that concludes my results for the Raw week of September 30th through October 5th. Thanks and peace out.